Okay, here we are again. It's Wednesday now. And our passage today is when Jesus points to the one who will betray him when he and his disciples are at supper. And he dips the bread in the dish and gives it to the one who is to betray him, and that's Judas.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Well, it's Spy Wednesday, and I love that name. I only heard about that a couple of years ago, but I think it's really fun. Because Judas apparently was a spy infiltrating the organization. But it's not like that in the reading, right? Because Jesus gives the bread and then Satan enters into Judas. So I'm wondering, did Judas know what was going to happen? Did he already have ulterior motives? Or was it something that God forced Judas to do this? Was it preordained? Are we meant to screw up in certain ways? Are we meant to betray people? Is it part of destiny?
No, I don't think so. I think I read a great line today about this, that, and I can't remember who said it, but the quote said, in a line that will surely always be remembered, Judas is Mary gone horribly wrong.
Mary?
Sister Mary. Mary, Martha, Mary.
Oh, okay.
And it's, that to me is sort of telling, because in the previous readings, Judas, we were told that Judas was the keeper of the purse.
Yeah.
And that he stole from the purse once in a while.
He stole from the purse.
So it wouldn't be unusual for him to have the 30 pieces of silver to go away. And so he finds out, I think that it's, when we're tempted, I don't know, God didn't plan it. I mean, I don't think God tempts us to do bad things. I think that it's how Judas's heart was going that led him to this, because he was already sort of subversive, obviously, according to John. He was stealing
according
from
to
the purse.
John, but I'm not sure how much
Well, that's what we have to go on here. Who knows whether that's real or not.
Yeah.
But we're tempted, like you were saying earlier, you tell one line, it goes around and around. You just had this sort of a lifestyle.
But to me, I think that's conjecture. Maybe we're just disagreeing on the nature of Judas. Bishop John Spong once said that Judas was a stand-in for Jews in the Christian imagination. That, he carried the purse and, stole money, betrayed Jesus, and that kind of gave license to a lot of anti-Semitism. I prefer a gentler reading of Judas.
I would too.
And I think this part of it where Satan enters into him after receiving the bread makes me wonder, okay, so when Jesus shares fellowship with us, do we take that as a source of pride and allow that to lead us to horrible acts of betrayal because we think that we're close with Jesus? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't get that, actually. Okay. Why would he? I mean, I think it was just one of those very human moments that we all have, where we can make the wrong decision sometimes. He's also, Judas is portrayed in a lot of lights. There's a book that portrays Judas as actually an ally of Jesus's, and Jesus paid him to do this so that the whole thing would progress as it was written,
Yeah, and I would probably have more trouble with that, believing that, so because Jesus didn't need any help getting this ball rolling.
I think he was just human and kind of prone to making bad decisions.
So wait, so this book says that Judas got paid off by Jesus to stage this so that he could be killed,
so that he could be arrested, to put the whole arrest and all that in motion.
Interesting, because he didn't, overturning the tables in the temple didn't get him arrested.
Right.
Even though he's like, arrest me, arrest me!
Yeah.
None of that stuff works.
It's a crazy idea. I know one person who has read that book.
Okay.
I'll tell you later. But it's. I think he made a bad choice. And think about it. Satan enters into him then. It's like we're offered this. I don't know.
And I think it's the black and white of John, the day night where Satan entered into him. We understand it as being a lot more progressive. Satan dwells in me right now. I think he's at bay, right? I hope.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. There are times when Satan might reach up and grab the wheel and drive a little bit. But but that's it's on a spectrum,
Sure.
right? It's not a flipping a switch.
Yeah, I mean, it's sometimes like I've thought about when I feel like I have a good angel on this shoulder and a little bad devil on this shoulder, and this one's talking into this ear, and this one's saying, "Don't you do that?" It's we have that in us, and I think you just,
So imagine what Judas would have been thinking, walking out of that hall, leaving his friends, knowing what he was going to go do.
Yeah, it's
and the
anguish.
weight of that. Maybe he didn't feel anguish, but I have to think that he did.
I think so too.
And yet not being able to pull himself out of that tailspin.
Right, exactly.
Like, and we've all been in situations like we're trying not to do something, we're trying not to give in, and yet there we are doing it. And we say, and that's why we need church, and that's kind of why we need forgiveness, is that we continually find ourselves in places where we don't need to be.
And that's a good thing about being in church, in community, is that we can support one another, because we don't all make the right decisions
We're all sinners,
all the time.
all of us.
And we can support each other when one of us falls. Like you say, lift us up when we fall. That's what we're there for, is to lift each other up. And that's the importance of Christian community.
Yeah. Kind of want to sing that Josh Groban song now. But I don't know the words. I don't know the words, thankfully. All right, so that's Spy Wednesday for you. Join us tomorrow night, Maundy, Thursday, 7 p.m. in the church for the Eucharist, the celebration of Eucharist. We're going to do foot washing, and then the penultimate act of liturgy for this season, which is really the stripping the altar. And then we go into Good Friday, 2 days from now. We're having an interactive family service, intergenerational service here at the church at noon on Friday, and then a traditional Good Friday liturgy at 7 p.m. here in the church. Thanks for joining us.
Peace.
We'll see you this week.